Alright, here's Speedex. It's pretty much done now, for now anyhow. Did want to get a knob up here for the hood, and still needs a little bit of carb tuning, but other than that, everything's done on it. I did not replace the bearing in here. It turns out it wasn't the bearing. I don't know if I explained that. It's just that this is actually really worn here. Let me show you. See how worn that is? The shaft is like undersized and stuff, so it's rubbing against the inner part of that. But it doesn't rub anymore because there's like this, I don't know what it's called, it just holds the bearing in, and it actually started to slip out, so I put it back in and put some Loctite on it so that way it wouldn't come back out. But it doesn't rub anymore, but still got a lot of play, which I'm not worried about. It's probably just wear. But the bearing itself was good, so I think the shaft was worn on the inside. Did look like that was rebuilt on the inside there, just tranny. These look like brand new gears and stuff in here. But, oh, and one other thing is it does leak fuel, but I just need to get new O-rings or whatever in there. So it still just needs a few other things, but I'm going to call it the project complete for now, because I'm done with this one for now. But the reason why I'm saying that is because not only does that have an issue, but I got to also go in and put new rings in and possibly drill out the valve guides and put in some sleeves, which I'm not even sure if I'm going to do that. I may have to take that into, I don't know, my tech shop or something, or probably more of a machine shop to get that done. But I don't know if it's the valve guides or just the piston rings. So, but I do know that if you look there, there's some oil there. Not only there's a real little bit leaking from the cover. I did seal this up because there's no points in this engine anymore. It's solid state ignition. If you do look, there's also a little bit of oil leaking out of the governor and the piece up there. So I think the reason why the points were removed is because my uncle, who had issues with this tractor, actually had the points were moving back and forth, and they would push oil out because it was worn real bad. Because I think this engine has a lot of hours on it. Same reason why it smokes. So, and what it did is it actually would fill up this cover and foul the points, and that's the issue he had with it. So, but then the coil tested bad and stuff from sitting for so long, and the magnets were weak. I did manage to do a few redneck things to get them a little bit stronger again and stuff. So, and I'll have to I'll explain that in a different video. So all in all, I did make hood mounts for it to fit this hood on there. There's no rubber thing or whatever in there. I tried cutting. It's a 1/4 inch steel with a plasma cutter, with a 40 amp plasma cutter. So it didn't turn out real well, but I cutted them. So it's the same thing. It was also like my first time using a plasma cutter. So. But fuel pipe, it's a little bit rusty there. That's steel, and everything was all clean on the inside. I didn't even have to clean anything out. And there's the fuel bowl and stuff. So yeah, there's the tractor. Hood is held on by a chain. It hooks right up onto there, and I just hooked it onto the air filter because I believe that's where they're supposed to go on these Speedexes. And it's still not fully unlatched. There we go. And I did remove the throttle was all like fucked up on this thing here. So what I did is I just used the old choke lever, since this doesn't have the electric start either way. I just flipped the choke down there by the carburetor. Because you just flip it with that little handle there. That's what that's made there for. Just turn it on, and that's how I turn on my choke. And then I just used the old choke lever as the throttle, which I see a lot of people do with these Speedexes. Yeah, Briggs & Stratton 23D. It's got really good compression, but like I said, probably needs new rings and stuff. It's worn. It doesn't leak down though. So it could just be valve guides, but you know. There's actually the coil that's underneath here. That coil is actually a Tecumseh engine coil from a riding mower, and I tested maybe like 50 of them, but since the magnets were actually kind of far apart, it seems like none of them would work, but that one tended to work. So it was getting good spark from that coil, so I'm believing that coil is going to be the one that's going to work, but I'm not 100% sure it will last, but it's actually also like the cheapest out of them all. But I don't know if it's going to last with those magnets or not. I mean, so far I've been running this thing for a while now and haven't had any issues, so but I do need an air filter for it. I just have the screen in there from where the filter cartridge goes on, so I got to order one. But I haven't taken it out into the dirt or anything yet. I just been driving in the driveway. Plus, I'm going to pull the engine apart and hone it anyways, so. And put new rings in. It does really smoke pretty bad because it burns a lot of oil. So, I did also pressure wash it. Steering has a lot of play on it. It's mainly down here. So, but that's kind of normal. These tractors are going to have a little play on them. They're not like precision steering or anything. But if you can see that, it's kind of a little bit excessive, so we'll do that. This tractor has a lot of use on it. It was restored, but I think everything was just repainted and stuff. I don't think it was actually totally restored. But the wheels are real nice and stuff. These tires were actually brand new tires, but the tractor sat for about between 15 and 20 years, so these brand new tires that were pretty brand new when we got them, when they were put on this tractor, aren't so brand new. And this is just from sitting, because this is actually the end that was sitting on the ground inside the barn. It was way in the back of one of those stalls, just buried. And these tires, one of these were the ones that's sitting down on the ground, because you bring the tractor forward and they actually look better. Well, not really, but you can see they're really cracked up. So, you know,